No, we can't have sighting on that's no good. Yes, but if I could change it to stems, no, that's not going to work. So what we need is, wait, yes, I got it! The Ningbo Auckland Education Association aims to strengthen existing ties between sister schools in Ningbo, China and Auckland, New Zealand, promote new relationships and deepen educators' knowledge and understanding of innovative teaching practices, which will ultimately benefit the students in both cities. So what is STEAM? We've all heard of STEM, that's science, technology, engineering and mathematics before, but what is STEAM? On the basic level, STEAM is the addition of arts to STEM. STEM lessons naturally involve art and do not deliberately exclude them, but if we're talking about how one can use art and engineering, then as an artist, it seems we're missing the point and devaluing or not realising art's purpose and importance. I reckon we've got it backwards. True STEAM courses should use arts to innovate and present or exhibit its findings. So just introduce myself. My name is Colin Dover. I'm the IT teacher, the tech teacher at Marina View School in West Harbour. I love my job. I teach robotics, I teach 3D printing, I teach the year 7-8 kids technology. We make stuff.
Yeah,
just
that's
absolutely love it. So, what about you, sir?
I am a teacher at Murrays Bay Intermediate. We do the same sort of thing there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I teach a year 8 class this year.
Yeah.
STEM as such, that slots really nicely into what I'm trying to do. And trying to challenge them, trying to see those links between countries, get that global outlook, which is, it's very difficult to get across unless you have a valid purpose.
Yes.
To show the children.
Authentic learning.
Oh yeah.
So science, technology, engineering, art, maths. Now, you mentioned that you'd done this previously. Was that last year or last
year? Last year.
Okay. What did you do?
We did water recycling.
Did you find that it was quite easy to take the STEAM concepts and integrate it into what you were currently doing? It wasn't standalone?
No, it was relatively easy. Once I realised I had freedom of chopping and changing, then what I did was I stuck with the structure that I was given via STEAM, and I then altered it slightly to match the New Zealand curriculum and the needs of my class. Yeah. And but I used the structure to connect with China in the same way. So it worked out pretty well. Yeah.
What would you say would be the biggest benefit of using that STEAM approach?
It gives them some authentic learning, and it gives them a real purpose for doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
In other words, so it's not just theory. They know that they are going to be showing to another audience, so that perks them up.
Oh yeah, and the audience just happens to be at the other side of the world.
Yeah.
That's what excited my kids.
Yeah.
Now you're familiar with the 8 stages. You look at other STEAM inquiry models. They had 7. So what we've done is we've actually added another one. It's right to 8, and I know the 8th one is reflection.
Yep.
But normally in the class you're going back through and you're reflecting all the way through.
Yeah. Well, what I did was the last 5 steps, those last 4 steps there was basically we did in a cyclical nature. So what we did was we tested something, we actually then reflected on it, did it work, and then we did some improving, and the sharing was all part of that little cycle. So we went round and round. So we did about 3 changes and tested it, and then re-recorded it. And we then shared with what they got up to in China as well, and they shared with us, which was quite cool.
I think from our kids' point of view, that sharing part was really, really important.
That's
most of the plans
we're trying to make reasonably generic so that when the teacher gets it, they can adjust it to their class level. So these are the 11 STEM topics. So you did the water.
Yeah.
The water one?
Water recycling. The only challenge I had on that was it kind of wound up being more of a water filter than a water recycling system, because we couldn't get it pumped.
Maybe next time, as you do more and more of the units, you're able to, because the format in all the units is basically the same, you'll be able to pick it up and run with it a lot quicker, and you'll be able to adapt it a whole lot more. How do you like the introduction activity? And then we go to the scenario, then we go to the project.
Oh.
Did you do your own? Did you follow the lessons?
I followed them loosely.
Yeah, it's nice to know that plan, that you can adapt it to exactly what you want. Okay. What about the scenario?
I think the scenario just pretty much fits very nicely. So yeah, no problems at all.
The 4 C's, the critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, communication. I particularly like this slide. I've made a big copy of it and I've put it up on my wall so that I can say to the kids, I like your critical thinking, and I point back to that.
Yeah.
I think we all do that, really,
Well, it's nice to be able to, when you've got something to take it towards, they do quietly look at those things that you put on the wall, and they sit there and
And I think during the lesson what you do is you actually point them to those and say, for these particular lessons, I'm looking at collaboration. And what about the assessment rubric? Have you seen that one?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
What I did, and unfortunately we ran out of lessons at the end, I sent this out at the end. I wanted them to do it as a self-assessment, so to put in 2 marks. So the first was where they think they started, and the second was to be where they finished.
Like a little continuum.
Yeah, basically.
Like I started on number 2 in critical thinking, but now I reckon I'm a 4.
Yeah, and then of course I would go back over and put my own marks in there.
Yes,
and say, no, you're wrong. Or hey,
hey, I think you're actually
right
better. No, that's brilliant. Have you thought that maybe you could hand that out, say at lesson 2, and say to the children, this is because that's what we do at school.
Yeah,
we
it makes sense to do it right at the start.
Maybe lesson 2 after you get them motivated with lesson 1 and then lesson 2. So like, this is the assessment rubric, this is what I'm going to be looking at. Because if you can give them the 4 C's and then you give them the assessment rubric, then they ask you all the time, why am I doing this? What am I doing?
Yeah.
That little sound box when it came gave us a great sense of relief, because I think I'm more nervous when I'm doing it, that I don't want the technical side to ruin the lesson. We actually use the hand mic more because I'm talking and wandering around, and then one of the kids wants to talk, I just give them the hand mic, and that works really well, especially when they're sharing. Now, I mentioned before about the PhD students. We've found, especially this year, they are providing us with a whole lot of information. That, like say the title thing for me, I'm a little bit unsure about that, but when Daisy gave me the things from the PhD, I was able to read it. Now they're giving us a few more videos that we could actually watch. So what I'm looking at, if I wanted to, I'll do that title one at some stage when I feel confident. But I think by the PhD giving us that information, we're able to sit down before the lesson and, like what I'm saying to the other teachers is, have a look at some of those, because at some stage the kids are going to ask you, oh, what about this, or how does this work? And if you've watched some of those, or you've seen some of that information the PhDs have given us, you go, oh, look, go over and have a look at this, or look at that shared doc that I gave you, look at that video, I think it might solve your issue, Because we need to concentrate on giving the lessons, but it's really good with the PhDs, that they sort of add value to the lesson as well.
And again, it's that outside world that comes in, where they become more aware that it's not just a classroom that we're talking about here. This is a real world problem.
And it's also really good because it's another person that the kids can relate to, listen to. They know that this person has knowledge, instead of us as teachers rabbiting on, we're the only one in the lesson, It's really good to have other experts or feed them with some more information. Have you thought about this? What about this? It's just another angle to come from.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how we wound up using her.
Do you think sometimes we, as teachers, we know our kids, we know them best, that we could preempt it by giving the PhDs some questions that they could actually
that's
give
what I
the
wound up
kids?
doing, yeah.
If you can think of anything else for the PhD to actually do as well, then during your lessons, email Daisy. She's in contact with the PhDs. Daisy, do you want to explain?
Yeah, this is a screenshot of the Google Drive because I think I have shared the Google Drive or water cycle with you.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can see that in this term we also invited PhDs to provide some supplementary contents in it. So if you receive the folder, we showed you maybe later you will find the lines via the supplementary contents, and it includes like the concepts and scientific facts behind the phenomena. For example, in this water filter, the PhD might talk about the capillary action in it.
Now, after all of this, do you think you've got enough information?
Well, now I know what I'm doing. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I know how it works now.
So your advice to a teacher who was thinking about doing this?
I'd say you definitely want to go for it. I'd also suggest before you did anything, do a dry run with your equipment.
Yes.
Definitely.
About half an hour beforehand.
Oh yes, yeah.
Even the day before, just so you feel confident.
And even then, it still will give you some surprises every so often. But basically, get confident with the technology. Definitely worth it.
And I think the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Oh, you do.
And the more confident you feel. And I think as a teacher, if you're feeling confident, then everything goes on.
And just speaking in terms of professional development, it's a worthy challenge. It's definitely getting outside of your comfort zone.
So the making the connections, I think, is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And doing it not necessarily between my school and your school, because we're in New Zealand, doing it with a class in China.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely brilliant.
And it just opens up, a lot of questions, a lot of interest.
I think we'll wrap it up there. That was really good. Thank you very much for this session. That was absolutely brilliant. I've actually really enjoyed it.